Hey there, what's up? Tired of feeling lost when you hear native English speakers talking? It's like they're in another dimension, right? The truth is, nobody tells you the secrets behind all that fluency. What if I told you there's a way to finally understand and sound like a native? Think it's impossible? That their English is too fast, full of tricks you don't know? No worries. Today on Learn English Secrets, I'm going to show you what they do differently and how you can apply it right now to improve your English. Get ready for a reality check and discover that fluency isn't rocket science. If you want to unlock your English and finally feel confident to chat with any native speaker, stick with me until the end. I'm going to reveal secrets that will transform the way you hear and speak English forever. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't waste time. Click down here and don't miss any secret that will unlock your English for good. Ready to master the art of fluency? So, let's go! Natives speak fast. So, let's unravel one of the biggest mysteries of English, shall we? Yeah, we gotta admit, natives have a reputation for speaking really fast, right? And don't worry, it's not just you. At first, it even seems like they swallow their words, and that can leave you super confused, like, what's going on here? But relax, take a deep breath, because I'm going to tell you the secret behind their speed of light. The thing is, all that speed is part of the nature of the language. It's like the music of English, you know? You need to get used to the rhythm, to the melody of the sentences. And believe me, the more you expose yourself to that sound, the easier it gets to understand. It's like learning to listen to a new song. At first, you just hear a bunch of sounds, but over time, you start to distinguish the instruments, the melody, the lyrics. It's the same with English. And check this out. Even though it seems like they're running a verbal marathon, in everyday life, natives kinda glue the words together. You know, when you're eating a cake and, without wanting to, you put a piece of strawberry together with a bit of whipped cream. It's delicious, right? It's the same with English. They join the words, creating a continuous flow, a unique sound vibe. And that's where one of the secrets that makes English so challenging and, at the same time, so authentic lies. And then, when you finally start to expose yourself to real English, the kind you hear in the streets, in movies, in series, you realize that all that agility isn't just a road accident, but an essential part of communication. It's like a secret code, a dialect that only those who are connected to the culture can decipher. And that perception is super important for you to start unraveling the mystery of the natural sound of English. Now, pay attention. All that speed doesn't mean that natives are speaking vaguely, mumbling, as if they're too lazy to articulate the words. Not at all. They're speaking fluently. The words are interconnected, like train cars. And it's that fluency, that glue between the words, that differentiates a native speaker from a student. It's like the difference between a professional runner and someone who's just starting to run now. And listen, that realization is fundamental to prepare you to identify other essential elements in the speech of natives. Because believe me, we're going even deeper into this story. We're going to see how the words come together even more, creating new sounds, unexpected melodies. So stay tuned because the journey is just beginning. Connected speech. Now, get your ear ready because we're going to dive headfirst into one of the best-kept secrets of spoken English, the so-called linked speech. Ever heard of it? If not, relax, I'll explain everything to you. Here's the thing. Natives naturally use this technique, which is nothing more than connecting the words to form a single sound unit. Like, they kind of glue the words to each other, you know? And why do they do that? Simple, to make the sound more natural, more fluent, more real English. But of course, this practice can also make your hair stand on end at first because it seems like they're speaking a completely different language. But calm down, don't despair. With a little practice and the right tips, you'll get the hang of it quickly. Imagine a normal, everyday conversation. The words simply fall together without those pauses that we usually make when we write. It's like a waterfall of sounds, a river that flows without stopping. And that absence of pauses, that sound rush, is what increases the feeling that natives speak super fast. But in reality, they're just using linked speech to make the conversation more natural and efficient. And that observation, that perception, is super important for you to start identifying other patterns in native speech. And look how cool! This technique not only helps with the fluency of speech, but also with energy saving. It's like a shortcut, a way to speak more with less effort. And believe me, that's a typical characteristic of native speakers. They don't worry about articulating each word perfectly, about making dramatic pauses between sentences. They simply speak, naturally and spontaneously. And if you want to sound more natural too, you need to start incorporating linked speech into your own speech. Now, pay attention. When listening to real examples of linked speech, you'll notice how the boundaries between the words become less defined. It's as if the words are hugging each other, uniting in a great sound choir. And that perception will prepare you to understand the practical examples that we're going to explore next. Oh, and since we're talking about this, what's your biggest difficulty when trying to understand spoken English? Leave it here in the comments. I want to know what your challenges are to help you overcome them. Example Wha-diu. Now, let's get down to business and analyze a practical example of linked speech that is super common in the daily lives of native speakers. The transformation of "what do you" into "Wha-diu." Ever heard of that? If not, get ready to have your mind blown. This small modification, this sound magic, is one of the secrets for you to start understanding spoken English more easily. What happens is this: when natives say "what do you" quickly, they tend to join the three words into one, eliminating the pauses and making the pronunciation more fluid. It's as if they were mashing the words, transforming them into a new sound form. And the result is the famous "Wha-diu," which sounds much more natural and spontaneous than the separate pronunciation of each word. This change, however subtle it may seem, shows how the joining of sounds can completely alter the structure of the sentence without, however, harming the meaning. The message remains the same, but the way of transmitting it is totally different. And this technique is super valid for you to understand other combinations that will come next. So stay tuned, because we're going to explore this sound universe of English. With this approach, with this new way of seeing English, it's possible to perceive that the clarity of speech doesn't depend on that exaggerated diction, on the correct pronunciation of each word. On the contrary, naturalness, fluency, spontaneity are much more important for effective communication. And that's what makes English so dynamic and interesting. It's like a dance, a game of sounds that fit together perfectly. Now, a friend's advice. Start practicing this "Wha-diu" trick in your day-to-day life. Try to incorporate this more fluid pronunciation into your conversations, into your listening exercises, and you'll see how your listening will become sharper, how you'll start to capture the subtleties of the sound more easily. This preparation is essential for you to approach other phonetic encounters that we're going to explore later on. And the coolest thing is that this simple transformation, this magic of "Wha-diu," opens the doors for a better understanding of how the sounds merge, of how the words come together to create a new sound. And that leads you to the exploration of even more complex combinations, such as the encounter of the sounds D plus ya, which we're going to see in detail in the next topic. So get ready for another dose of English secrets. Impact of tone. Now get ready for another bombshell revelation. Intonation and tone of voice play a crucial role in understanding English. That's right. It's not enough just to understand the words. You need to pay attention to how they are said. It's like a secret seasoning, an extra ingredient that can completely change the flavor of the recipe. Variations in tone of voice, changes in intonation, can alter the message and the intention behind the words. The same sentence, said with different intonations, can have totally opposite meanings. It's like a secret code, a non-verbal language that complements communication. And believe me, mastering this art of intonation is fundamental for you to become a complete English speaker. And check this out. Sometimes the speed and linking of words can be intensified by a lower or more drawn-out tone. It's as if the speaker is hiding some words, giving more emphasis to others. And this characteristic highlights the importance not only of what is said, but of how it is said. It's like a game of shadows, where some information is more evident than others. Clarity in speech is often affected by tone, making certain words seem less evident, as if they were disappearing in the middle of the sentence. And this variation, this sound dance, adds an extra layer of challenge to auditory comprehension. But don't worry, with a little practice and the right tips, you'll learn to decipher this secret code of intonation. And when you train your ear, when you expose yourself to different accents and speaking styles, you learn to differentiate between essential information and details that are suppressed by the tone. It's as if you developed a radar to detect the nuances of speech, the subtleties of communication. And this skill will be super useful for you to identify more complex sound patterns for you to understand real English. And the coolest thing is that this analysis of intonation prepares you to understand how the encounters of sounds like d followed by y alter the pronunciation, enriching your perception of the language. It's as if you were assembling a puzzle where each piece fits together perfectly to form a complete picture.
Sounds D plus Y. What happens when the sound D meets Y? The answer will surprise you. When these two sounds come together, a magical transformation happens, and they merge into result of a new sound. The J. It's like a sound alchemy, a chemical reaction that creates a new and unique element. This joining is super common in everyday phrases, such as in did you, which in the fast speech of natives sounds like did ya. Ever heard of that? If not, start paying attention to your favorite series and movies, because you're gonna hear this combination all the time. And believe me, this small change makes all the difference in your understanding of spoken English. This joining demonstrates how the pronunciation changes subtly to facilitate fast speech, to make communication more efficient. It's like a shortcut, a way to save energy and time when speaking. And this transformation is one of the key elements for you to sound more natural, for you to approach the fluency of native speakers. This phenomenon of sound softening simplifies the articulation and makes the speech more fluid, more pleasant to hear. It's as if the words were dancing together in perfect harmony. And this softness helps you to identify other patterns that we're going to see next. The observation of these sound combinations is essential to fine-tune your ear, to calibrate your perception and understand the real pronunciation of natives. It's as if you were playing a musical instrument, where each note, each chord, needed to be heard with attention and precision. And this attention to detail adds to your auditory skill, making you a more complete and efficient listener. And hey, are you enjoying unraveling the secrets of how natives speak English? If you're enjoying it, don't forget to leave that like so I know I'm on the right track in helping you unlock your English. With this example, with this key to unravel the mystery of the sounds D plus Y, you start to realize the importance of phonetic encounters in the naturalness of speech. It's as if you're opening a portal to a new world of sounds and meanings. A world where communication is fluid, spontaneous, and natural. And this portal leads to you understand other effects, other sound magic that makes English so fascinating.
Sounds T plus Y? Check this out. When the sound of T meets Y, magic happens, and they transform into something very similar to cha. That's right. Take this golden tip. Don't you doesn't sound exactly as you imagine, but rather like doncha. Sounds like something from a movie, right? But it's pure practicality. This whole transformation has a reason, to make articulation easier. Imagine having to pronounce each sound separately with all that strength and precision. It's tiring just to think about it. By joining the sounds, we save energy. The speech becomes lighter and English flows like a calm river. It's as if the tongue found a secret shortcut. And why is this important for you, who are on the other side of the screen, learning and dedicating yourself? Simple. By understanding this transformation, you become much more prepared to recognize auditory patterns in different contexts. It's as if you gained a superpower to decipher what the natives are saying. Think about it. You are watching a movie, listening to music, or talking to someone in English. Suddenly you hear a familiar sound, but you can't exactly identify the words. That's where your knowledge about sound encounters comes in. You already know that T plus Y can become cha, so your mind makes the connection automatically, and everything becomes clearer. Amazing, right? These encounters show that the spoken language is alive, dynamic, and constantly adapts. It is not rigid, full of rules and exceptions. On the contrary, it always seeks the most efficient and economical way to transmit the message. It's as if the language is always evolving, seeking perfection in simplicity. And the coolest thing is that this observation will help you practice a more attentive listening. You will start to pay attention to the small details, to the subtleties of pronunciation, to the sounds that connect and transform. You will become a true English detective. Want a practical example? Imagine the phrase, "I'll let you know." If you pay attention, you will realize that "let you" sounds more like "let you." See? The magic happening in practice. So, the next time you hear a native speaking, pay attention to the encounters of T plus Y. Try to identify the sound of cha and see how this facilitates your understanding. And don't forget, practice makes practice. The more you practice, the more natural this transformation will become. Remember, English is like a game. The more you play, the more you learn the rules and strategies. And with time, you become an expert. So keep practicing, exploring, and having fun with the language. And don't be afraid to make mistakes. Mistakes are part of the learning process and are an opportunity for growth. So, ready to master the sound of cha? I know you can. Shortened phrases? Let's enter a universe where linguistic laziness becomes an art. Have you noticed how in everyday life we have a habit of shortening things? In English, it's no different, and natives are masters at transforming long phrases into super compact versions to give more agility to the conversation. It's like this. Instead of saying, "Do you want to go to the cinema?" they send, "Want to go to the movies? Got the vibe?" It's as if each syllable saved was an extra point of style. A classic example is the famous "fancy a cuppa," which would be something like, "Would you like a cup of tea?" Just imagine the scene. You arrive at an English friend's house and he greets you with this phrase. If you are not connected, you will be floating without understanding anything. This practice of shortening phrases is not just to save time, It also makes the conversation more informal and relaxed. It's like a secret code between native speakers, a way to show that you are inside the group. But calm down, no need to despair. This whole reduction does not alter the meaning of the phrase, but requires a more accurate listening to capture all the nuances. It's as if you needed to fine-tune your ears to understand what is being said. And how to do this? The tip is simple. Practice. Watch movies and series in English, listen to podcasts and music, and pay attention to how natives communicate. At first, it may seem difficult, but over time, you will get used to the reduced versions and will gain confidence to approach the native standard. Think about it. When you learn a new word, you don't just memorize its definition, but also its pronunciation, its use in different contexts, and its variations. With shortened phrases, it's the same thing. You need to learn to recognize them, to understand them, and to use them correctly. And don't worry about sounding artificial or forced at first. The important thing is to practice and have fun with the process. With time, the shortened phrases will become natural for you, and you will start to use them without even noticing. These shortened phrases show that the language is alive and flexible, always adapting to the rhythm of everyday communication. It's as if English was an organism in constant evolution, always seeking the most efficient and expressive way to communicate. And the coolest thing is that this flexibility gives you the freedom to adapt your own speech. You don't need to stick to rigid grammatical rules or perfect pronunciations. The important thing is to communicate clearly and effectively, transmitting your message in the best possible way. So, the next time you hear a native speaking, pay attention to the shortened phrases. Try to identify the words that were omitted and understand the general meaning of the phrase. And don't forget, practice makes perfect. The more you practice, the more natural this skill will become. Remember, English is not an exact science, but an art. And like all art, it requires practice, dedication, and a little audacity. So, let go of your creativity, experiment with new ways to express yourself, and have fun with the process. And most importantly, don't be afraid to make mistakes. Mistakes are part of the learning process and are an opportunity for growth. Common contractions. Have you ever caught yourself thinking about how native English speakers manage to speak so fast? One of the secrets lies in contractions. It's like they have a turbo button on their tongue, which joins two or more words into one, creating super connected sounds and saving a lot of time. Think with me. Instead of saying, I am going to, they simply send a I'm gonna. Instead of I want to, it becomes I wanna. And let me transforms into lemmy, just like that, quickly. It's pure practicality. These contractions are not just to save time, you know. They also give a touch of informality and authenticity to the conversation. It's as if you were talking to a friend without worrying about grammatical rules or unnecessary formalities. And why do you need to know this? Simple, to understand what the natives are saying and to sound more natural when you speak English. After all, nobody wants to look like a robot reciting a book, right? The good news is that contractions are super common and easy to learn. Just pay attention to how the natives speak and start incorporating them into your vocabulary. At first, it may seem a little strange, but with time, you will get used to it and will start to use them without even noticing. And don't worry about sounding artificial or forced at first. The important thing is to practice and have fun with the process. With time, the contractions will become natural for you and you will start to use them without even noticing. And if you are enjoying learning these secrets of spoken English, I have a question for you. What is the funniest or most curious contraction you have ever heard? Share it here in the comments. Who knows, we might make a video just with the most bizarre and fun contractions in English. It will be great. The practice of using contractions decreases grammatical rigidity without compromising the clarity of the message. It's as if you were showing that the meaning of the phrase is more important than the exact form, and this is fundamental to communicate effectively in English. By identifying these changes, you start to recognize that communication is always in motion and evolution. It's as if the language was alive, breathing, and adapting to the needs of the speakers. And this understanding is fundamental for you to feel comfortable in the conversation. This adaptation of the language invites you to focus more on the message and less on the form, which reflects a crucial aspect of natural English and prepares the ground to explore the focus on meaning. It's as if you are learning to dance to the music instead of following a predefined script. So, the next time you hear a native speaking, pay attention to the contractions. Try to identify them and understand their meaning. And don't forget, practice makes perfect. The more you practice, the more natural this skill will become. Focus on meaning. Now get ready for a revelation that can change the way you see English. In real life, perfect grammar is not always the priority. That's right! Natives care much more about transmitting the message clearly and effectively than about following all the grammatical rules to the letter. It's as if they had a motto, the important thing is to make yourself understood. And believe me, this approach makes all the difference when communicating in English. Have you noticed how sometimes we get so stuck on grammar that we end up freezing when speaking? We are afraid of making mistakes, of sounding ridiculous, and we end up losing the spontaneity and fluency in the conversation. But the truth is that natives don't care about our grammatical errors. They are much more interested in understanding what we are trying to say. And if we manage to transmit the message clearly and coherently, they will understand us without problems. And why is this important for you, who are on the other side of the screen, learning and dedicating yourself? Simple, because it gives you more freedom and confidence to express yourself in English. You don't need to worry about being perfect, but about being understood. Think about it. Instead of thinking about which tense to use, which preposition to choose, or which article to put, you can simply focus on the message you want to transmit. And believe me, this will help you to speak English with much more naturalness and fluency. Natives frequently use wrong phrases from the grammatical point of view, but that make total sense in the context. It's as if they had a secret code, a way of communicating that goes beyond the formal rules of the language. And the coolest thing is that this dynamic allows the message to be transmitted quickly and intuitively, valuing the global understanding. It's as if you are learning to read between the lines, to understand what is not said, but rather implied. By focusing on the meaning, you free yourself to better interpret the characteristics of speech, such as intonation and rhythm. It's as if you were fine-tuning your ears to capture all the nuances of communication. And this mindset is essential to achieve a real and spontaneous fluency. This attention to the meaning prepares the ground for the practice with authentic phrases, which is the next focus to improve your communication skills. It's as if you were preparing to enter the field and play the real game. So, the next time you are talking to someone in English, forget the perfect grammar and focus on the meaning of the message. Try to understand what the person is trying to say and answer clearly and coherently. And don't forget, practice makes perfect. The more you practice, the more natural this skill will become. Remember, English is not a test, but a conversation. And like all conversation, it requires attention, empathy, and a little good humor. So relax, have fun, and enjoy every moment of the process. And most importantly, don't be afraid to make mistakes. Mistakes are part of the learning process and are an opportunity for growth. Efficient practice. And to close with a golden key, let's talk about practice, the icing on the cake, the secret ingredient that will transform you into a master of English. It's no use knowing all the grammatical rules, all the contractions, and all the secrets of pronunciation if you don't put all this into practice, right? And how to practice efficiently? The tip is simple: repeat and imitate everyday phrases. It's as if you were transforming yourself into a bilingual parent, repeating everything you hear around. Start with simple phrases, such as, "What did you do?" or "How's it going?" Pay attention to how the natives pronounce these phrases, in the intonation, in the rhythm, and in the contractions, and try to imitate them as faithfully as possible. At first, it may seem a little strange, but with time, you will get used to it and will start to sound more natural. It's as if you were developing a new muscle, a speech muscle, that allows you to reproduce the sounds of English with more ease and precision. Exercises with real phrases help to develop both pronunciation and auditory comprehension. It's as if you were killing two birds with one stone. You learn to speak English and to understand what the natives are saying. And don't limit yourself to the basic phrases. Explore different contexts, watch movies and series, listen to podcasts and music, and pay attention to how natives communicate in different situations. Frequent practice allows the patterns of linked speech and the phonetic transformations to become intuitive. It's as if you were programming your brain to recognize and reproduce the sounds of English automatically. And don't worry about being perfect. The important thing is to practice with consistency and have fun with the process. With time, you will realize that you are speaking English with much more ease, fluency, and confidence. Incorporating these habits into your day-to-day life makes your English more fluent and natural, eliminating barriers to comprehension. It's as if you were creating an immersion environment in English, even without leaving home. This gradual immersion enriches your learning process effectively. It's as if you are planting seeds that will germinate and bloom with time. This practical approach is the perfect closing to integrate all the secrets discussed, transforming your way of hearing and speaking English in a way that stands out. It's as if you are preparing to take off and reach new horizons. So, the next time you are practicing English, remember these tips and put them into practice. Repeat and imitate everyday phrases. Pay attention to the pronunciation, to the intonation, and to the rhythm, and have fun with the process. And don't forget, practice makes perfect. The more you train, the more natural this skill will become. Remember, English is not an obstacle, but a bridge, and like all bridge, it connects you to new cultures, new people, and new opportunities. So, cross this bridge with confidence, curiosity, and enthusiasm. And most importantly, don't be afraid to make mistakes. Mistakes are part of the learning process and are an opportunity for growth.
Conclusion. Hey guys, did you enjoy unraveling these secrets that natives hide with 7 keys? I hope so. Now, with these tips, their English will no longer seem like an indecipherable code, right? Remember, the secret is to practice, pay attention to the details, and not be afraid to make mistakes. After all, making mistakes is part of the learning process, and it's by making mistakes that we learn to get it right. And, of course, don't forget to apply everything you learned here in your day-to-day life, huh? Oh, and before I forget, if you've made it this far, it's because you're really committed to unlocking your English, right? So leave that hearty like to strengthen the channel and show that you are enjoying the content. And if you haven't subscribed yet, run there and click on the red button so you don't miss any secret from Learn English Secrets. And now, as usual, let's test your ears and see if you got everything right. Get ready for today's secret phrase. Fluent English is like Wha-diu. So, what did you understand? Complete this phrase creatively and funnily in the comments. I want to see your creativity. And remember, with Learn English Secrets, the secret to your success in English is just a click away. Keep improving your skills and uncovering the Learn English secrets by watching this video or checking out this playlist right here. See you in the next video.